There's a place, a school, an institution where a professor resides. One that for the past 30 years has traveled the world teaching others. A pioneer in America of the fighting science of Savate. One who codified the sports of this fighting style. One who has produced clubs, champions, and continues to develop. Listen to
Once more, it's another Monday, and I want to wish everybody a great Monday. In fact, today's my birthday. I'm 53 years old. I've been doing Support the Savate since I was 6 years old, so you all can do the math. My son's birthday as well. He turned 17. Very proud of him because, you know, he's done great in Savate, learned it the way it should be done. You know, he's been put on the gloves with more professors than anybody here in the U.S. really, and he's a good kid. You know, we kept somebody to be proud of. But so is a lot of my students. But the following question is it's a good question. It was sent to me, and it was asked by a Salvatore, and he says, you know, Professor, you're always talking about shoes. Savate means shoe in Old French. The shoes used as a weapon. What type of shoes are the ones that we use for the street? Well, let's touch base on that. In the ring, a Savate shoe, or when you train, folks out there, many of you all are going to go look for Savate. Many of you are training in Savate. Many are trying to find a club of Savate. Here's a couple of red flags when you go look for Savate. Are they training with shoes? Are they kicking with shoes? I've trained a lot of people around the world that claim to have learned Savate some form or another, and they're barefooted. Remember, Savate means shoe in Old French, and that is the truth. The shoe is used as a weapon. The kicks of Savate and boxe française, and Savate, boxe française, and dance through Savate, all those elements of the French martial arts. The shoe is used as a weapon when you make impact, and it's distinctly so. The kicks are designed that way, and I understand there's a lot of people that like to debate, especially on social media, and they will always say, or they come up with a kick's a kick, a punch, movement is movement, motion is motion. Yes and no. Okay, plain and simple. Yes and no. You know, we have 458 lot, which is built to bring down an elephant. You have a 22. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can eventually kill an elephant by shooting him with 22. But I'd rather go hunting with a 458 appropriate for the game that we're going for. So everything's a little bit different. Everything's done differently. The mechanics are done differently. The power is done differently. The way you express yourself at the point of impact is different. The way the mechanics are different. And you can only understand that if you've practiced Savate at a long periods of time. But yet people still claim it's the same thing. I'm not going to argue with you. You want to think it's the same, please do so. Please go forward, continue training. That's the important part. But let's touch base on shoes. In the ring, the Savate shoe, and I don't have one with me because I'm here at the house, I'm not at the school. A Savate shoe looks something similar to a wrestling boot. It has some padding in the front, along the sides as a better support than a wrestling shoe for the ankle. Okay, it's not like a boxing shoe in the sense of the sole, because this boxing shoe does this at the bottom. Plants yourself on the ground or in the canvas for you not to solidify yourself when you punch, and you can still be mobile. That's a difference between a boxing shoe and a Savate shoe. It has that little edge on the bottom of the shoe that kind of arcs out there for it to grasp. I understand. If you use that in Savate, you can. I'm not saying you cannot, but there's certain kicks because of the way they're designed. The sole of a boxing shoe will actually cut the other person. You know, folks, when you go out to, let's talk about practicing shoes. You can't find a Savate shoe, buy a wrestling shoe. Asics, Pony, Adidas, a wrestling shoe. Okay? Do not buy a boxing shoe. If there's nothing else, use a boxing shoe, but just realize that you can cut somebody with certain kicks, like a front reverse, like a tendu, like a lateral reverse. You're going to cut somebody. Remember, you're always touching, blocking, moving. There's always impact with the shoes towards your body and the other person's body. I have basketball shoes you don't want to wear. Okay, they're big, thunky in the bottom. They're meant for that reason, for you to have support when you're running and agility, for it not to move out. But it's not built for Savate. It grabs the ground. So when you pivot, it's going to limit your movement in pivoting, and it's also going to limit your movement when you're kicking to the ground and go with the impact instead of trying to solidify yourself in root. That's the problem. A lot of people want to take a shot to the leg by rooting down being strong because they're going to say, I'm a strong guy, I'm going to take it, and it's going to get you hurt. But again, you want to believe that, feel free, continue training in that fashion. You want to listen? Been doing it for a little bit longer. Yeah. Anyway, let's touch base on those shoes. For the ring, you have Reebok, you have Adidas, and you have Sport Palace that makes some excellent shoes for the ring. Okay. For competition and under the French, several of the associations, those are the ones that they want them to use. In USA Savate, there are other shoes that we use. Why? Because some of those equipment, some of those manufacturers don't want to pay a bond. Has nothing to do with me. It's all done with insurances. But people out there that do not have that much white brain matter want to blame everything on a person that has nothing to do with it. Anyway, now for the street, you have to understand the kicks. Kicking with shoes on and kicking barefooted are totally two different realms. And once you understand that, once people understand that that exists, then you can move forward as a self-defense situation and learn it. See, I have a lot of students that come to Savate from other martial arts, and it's wonderful. Some of them are with me for 20 years plus, some of them 15 years, some of them 10 years. But they'll realize right away that some of the movements that you think you know are not the same. They're not the same. And once they realize that they start growing. Okay, if you go into Savate training claiming that the same kicks and the same movements are that of Taekwondo or of Thai boxing or what have you, you're in the wrong. Okay, so back down a little bit, start pushing it. I understand some people are going to get upset out there. I really do not care what your opinion is, unless you have proven yourself somewhere else and produce individuals, then I can go ahead and pay attention to you. Not, you can continue just moving forward. Now, shoes for the street. Personally, what I use cowboy boots. Now, do you want a flat toe? Do you want a pointy toe? Do you want a real pointy toe? Does it matter? It does in a little bit. You're wearing leather soles. People say you're going to slip on asphalt. You're going to slip on concrete. You're going to slip on tile floor, ceramic, what have you. You have to realize one thing about kicking with Savate way is that you're on your toes. You're moving on your toes. So when you have a cowboy boot, your heel is elevated. Even for girls that are wearing short heel or high heel, your heels are elevated. So you can kick with a shoe and still be perfectly fine because of the way you're training. If you're in other arts and you're planted and you want to kick that way, your heel's going to take you underneath and it's going to take you on the ground. Believe me, I've seen it. I've seen people that try to kick me, do it in the street. I've seen when we did the security, plenty of security work. People would stand back and go back into their cat stance or their back stance, and they'll go into some type of kick. And the first thing they found out that they're on the floor, because kicking barefooted and kicking with shoes are totally two different worlds, period. Okay. So I hate to be redundant, but once you realize that, you move forward. Um, Shoes. I'm an executive chef. Okay. I work in the kitchen. Kitchens can get greasy because of all the oil that's in the air. It settles on the tile. So you need a shoe that is not only water resistant, but it's also made that it's going to grip the ground. Okay, there's some great shoes out there. Doc Martens, for one, are one of the best shoes you can use for that purpose. They were built for that, industrial wise. Okay, now would you want to wear Doc Martens combative style boots, or maybe a steel toe point dexter, or you want to wear a wing top with with that type of sole? Please do, as a casual dress, right? But then all of a sudden you say, you know what, I'm going to a formal. Well, you're going to want to wear that. Again, here you go back to the shoe. People will say, well, it has a leather sole. That's not good for fighting, a leather sole. Believe me, the fastest of all the kicks of Savate, it's a lateral reverse. That is the fastest kick of all the Savate kicks. Then after that, it's probably going to be forte fast to the groin. Then probably a forte lateral, right? But the fastest kick in Savate is a lateral reverse. The fastest one. The explosiveness that comes out. When you hit somebody across the face with a leather sole shoe and it grazes it, believe me, it's going to cut. I've done it. I've seen it. Believe me, it happens. Okay? The movement on your toes is great, whether you're in cobblestones or you're in asphalt or you're in dirt or you're in the grass or you're on concrete or you're in ceramic tile. You're able to move. The mobility is there. You have to realize that Savate comes from Europe. Even though you have some people that run around barefooted ever so often, usually little guys. Most everybody had shoes on. So this type of fighting was developed around that. After periods of time, things developed. Then you had people that would sit down and basically ponder on this. Some of these older professors that are in the 1800s, in this century as well. Okay, we had a lot of changes in Savate in the last 40 years. Okay, a lot of changes in Savate and Book Français, and Savate Book Français came out, and through Savate we developed. Those are elements of why were they done, for what? Book Français Savate was done for the ring, and it's a beautiful art for that. And Dance Through Savate was done for the street, for that purpose. Okay, so please understand that. Please understand that. But it is a good question. Uh, Remember, Doc Martens for the street, they're great. Cowboy boots are great. But again, go back to your training, analyze how you're training, why you're training. Very specific. Why am I training Savate? If it's because I wanted to learn how to defend myself, then you start moving around those elements. All right. Once more, I want to thank you all for choosing our channel. There's a lot of content out there and in social media realm, and we're here to provide a service, to provide some input. If you have any questions, please call me. I try to answer most of them. There's some, if it doesn't have a name, like just some guy that's out there that says the King Warrior or whatever, unless you put your name on it, I'm going to answer you. Understand? If you don't, then there's too many out there. want to continue moving forward. Listen, there's a lot of projects coming of age. This Saturday we have the Texas Stick Fighting Championship, which should be the sixth one, but since COVID, last year's was canceled, so it's 2021 Texas Stick Fighting Championship, and we're producing also on December 1st the first ever American Stick Fighting Championship. We have some people coming in from the four corners of the United States. Again, if you want to partake in that, drop us a line at buitronacademy2012@gmail.com. If you like, share, send questions, believe me, we're here to answer. And we've got a couple of other projects coming up, which we'll let you know in the near future. Until then, peace.
Train at the best kept secret of Laredo. Buitron Academy, 956-401-4868. Savate.biz.